We're alive. Hello, good evening, everyone. Today's going to be so interesting. We're going to talk about portals, and that was a very interesting idea that came from Annie. So, thank you for that inspiring and interesting topic. It is not a topic we all know anything about, but it is a topic that we do know that people are curious about, people are interested, people do spend a lot of significance around the time when we know that there is a portal opening. For example, the 111, 1111, or even Lion's Gate portal. And Annie, you yourself also have other portals. But just to let everybody else know, Sydney's going to join us. She's going to be slightly late, but she's going to join us today as well on this very interesting topic. Who can miss such an interesting topic? So, Annie, what gave you the inspiration to come up with this topic to share with our viewers?
Well, it's March. If you're watching this later, then this is today is March not 30th, 2025. And within 2 weeks or maybe 15 days, there's been two eclipses, one lunar, March 14th, and one solar, which was yesterday, March 29th. Unfortunately, it was not around the world. Hi, Sydney. Good to see you.
Welcome and thanks for joining us
Of course, of
on
course.
this very interesting topic called the portal. The portals, intergalactic portals. So I was just asking Annie, like, what gave her the inspiration to come up with such a topic?
Yeah, and I was
Nice.
saying that within 2 weeks, there was like two eclipses, one lunar, one solar. And I thought to myself, wow, okay, that must be a lot of energy shift. What happens when the eclipse happens?
Yeah.
The light goes away and then the darkness takes place, which actually can activate some triggers or maybe will remind you what you have maybe to have to let go. That might be coming back or not. So then, it's just like a reference, like telling us that, okay, there's things that I need to let go, or maybe I'm feeling attached to things. Like I have one little things here, the things that I need to be that are being taken away. Losing a job, losing a house because with the weather or whatever, losing somebody, relationships. But also it could be also your health or something that you used to have. It could be also a cat, a dog, and so it changed. It's a lot of changes dramatically. So up to an energical way, it does open portals. And two within 14 days, I think that definitely there must be a lot of shifts. So I'm not really aware about all the details of those events right now, but I can imagine. And we also feel maybe lately you felt like a little bit more tired or maybe
So
more grumpy or not grumpy because when the darkness takes place it might be also like show you another face or another perspective. But coming back to portals, so what does that mean? Like what's the transition, and do we need to protect ourselves like with portals? Like what's happening? So back to you,
interesting.
Teresa.
So it's interesting that you mentioned about the need to protect ourselves, right? But it's like when we talk about the Lion's Gate portal, everybody's like, give it to me, give it to me. Give
Yeah.
me the codes, upgrade my DNA, give me the attunements, take me to the next level, the ascension journey, and all that, right? So it's interesting. And I like you to hold that thought about like, why is it necessary to think about protecting ourselves? Which I don't
Mhm.
think is something that a lot of people would think along those lines. But based on what you just talked about, like, when there's a portal, there's a shift, there's change. And very often we say that we want change and like change, but exactly are we ready for change? And I'm sure all of us have gone through that experience when we say we want change, but we are not really comfortable with the change. So that's a very big insight that you just alluded us to. Sydney, what's your thoughts around portals?
Wow, I mean, like with everything Annie said, it actually reminded me of seventh month that we
Mhm.
have here. And that's basically the time where everyone's like, oh, all of the spirits are more active. And we did do a channeling around like what's going on during that period. And it did talk about how big, like I can't remember the exact details, but it was basically like as we're like honoring that time period, it's also opening or like shifting the energies between the living and the dead closer. And it reminded me of this topic of like, wow, yeah, there's a lot of different experiences that can come from portals. And even, with what you're saying with current events, I have noticed that I am a bit more sleepy right now and also a little bit more like existential when I'm just like by myself alone. There's more of this tendency more than usual to kind of contemplate the strangeness of life and how interesting that I'm alive now and identify with myself now rather than some other year or time or place or being.
Mhm.
Where it's like sometimes I'll think about that kind of stuff, but the frequency at which it's happening right now, I was like, wow, why am I having this like all these existential thoughts at the moment, you know?
Yeah. And for me, every time if there's a full moon or there's some cosmic energies coming, I am super alert and wide awake that forget about sleeping
Oh
that
yeah, you have been saying that you just can't sleep at
I
night.
just can't sleep. I will be so alert. I mean, like, I don't mind these energies, but just give me lucid dreaming. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, let you sleep, but
Yeah,
like you
let
can
me
have
sleep.
lucid dreams.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just like the time when they insist on channeling through me. I actually slept, but
Mhm.
channeling continued. I actually just
Yeah.
so in the end, when they finished, they actually had to tap me here to say that it's done. They actually tapped me to say that we're done. They went on
Mhm.
for hours. Yeah, but yeah, so okay, let's help the audience define what exactly is a portal because there are so many different types of portals. Because
Hmm.
channelers, you yourself also have your own portals, right?
Mhm.
In context for this, we're talking about the cosmic and intergalactic portals and possibly the eclipse. So, what is your understanding of what a portal is?
Honey, you should go because this
I'm
is your topic of the day.
Yeah, that's why I create that because I'm still trying to figure it out.
Hmm.
So a portal, I just feel like it's not alignment where it's like it's a
Hmm.
bright. I could be completely wrong. You can correct me because I'm still new at this, by the way. And I just feel like it's a giant big door with a gate. Okay, let's play with stereotypes. And
Yeah.
then sometimes you do have people or something or any energies that are there, and you can tap into it, get in, or I don't know if you can come out. But yeah, so please help
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I mean it's like if we're gonna use the word portal, right? The first thing in culture that I think of is the game Portal. So like you said, like portals have this similar connotation to a doorway where you're going from one space to another. But a doorway is two spaces that are logically connected to one another, right? If I go from my bedroom into my living room, it's of course because they're right next to each other. I just need a door to create a hole in the wall so that I can get from one room to the next. But with a
Mhm.
portal, it's like we are interacting with spaces, or in this case, with energies that maybe would have been harder to access or were like far away. And like now there's this like, woo, there's a portal there. Now we can just use that and like access something that would otherwise not be super close by. And it's like in the game Portal, you have the like portal gun machine and you can connect like two physical spaces that otherwise wouldn't be connected and use it to solve puzzles. And I think that's really nice for what we're doing. It's like, in a way, our work with our clients is like solving a puzzle so often.
Yeah, it's true. So the way I see the portal, there's a few things. One, there's a few alignments that need to happen. Definitely frequency, resonance, alignment that needs to happen. So that it's like a key to touch that portal to unlock the door. So Sydney, you're right. Absolutely, there's this door. And according to Annie, it can be a big door, it can be a small door. But it is to me, it is a place where you need the energy frequency to align for that connection to happen, and then open up that possibility of connecting. But then what is the purpose of that connection, right? And that's where at this moment, right, like especially if I talk about the Lion's Gate, because people, that has been so popularized, because actually over time there's a lot of different portals that opens up and that things are happening. It's just that the Lion's Gate somehow is more popularized. It's so nice to see the lions. So there is an opportunity for connection, and then to then have that communication and give us things, and for them to also learn something about us, right? So there is that exchange that can happen because the energy and frequency aligns, and then that happens. But that's it. That's my very limited basic understanding of portals. So today's YouTube live is going to be a bit interesting, where I'm going to count on the guides to come through to give us a bit more information. But before we do that, let's talk a bit more, like how do we feel during each different portal, right? So there are many different types of portal, like 1111. Somehow people like to theme these portals. So like 888 is the Lion's Gate, and then there is the 1111. What exactly happened during the 1111? People like to popularize it as a manifestation portal, where people are there to then use the energy to manifest what they hope to achieve in their life. But we all know that there's many other portals. Any other examples that you can give about the different portals that seems to be cosmic and intergalactic?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I think of like the Earth's like specific, like there's certain locations on the Earth. Like the Earth has its own I remember it has its own like energetic centers, and those can be pretty similar.
That's a very interesting one, because the Lumerians that are known to be living in the center of the Earth, there are portals to the Lumerians as well. Yep.
Ooh, now it's like wow. I'm reminded of like when people talk about like fairy rings or fairy circles, and it's like the folklore around that is like, oh, be careful with those. Like if you end up losing your way and ending up in like in with the fae, then you might like get lost and not know how to go back home. So that's a very like portal like thing where it's like you're getting so caught up in that particular energy that you lose track of like how to get back.
Yeah, that's possible.
I was searching for other dates, but unfortunately I was not able to tap into it. But I think it's like the full moon must be like the one that happens regularly. What about new moons? I'm like I'm gonna like read more about this stuff in the upcoming weeks, but yeah. But I'm pretty sure New Year's. What else? Let's think about like when was the last time beside those two, or it must be associated with astrological. Remember when the four planets, when was like the alignments was like
right, the alignments of different planets.
Mine's astrological moments or events that could be there. The moments where it must be opening gates for a certain type of time. And usually I would have a question for you, for you both. When a portal is opening, usually, is it at like a specific time? Is this like happening for a specific time, like human time? And what should we concentrate? Like what do you concentrate on? Or what's your priority in those moments for if you want to like take the most of the outcomes for you, or whatever you want to integrate or assimilate, or for your own growth or perspective, or I don't know, whatever it is for, like what would you suggest or recommend, or what do you do?
No, it's a good question because a lot of people who does not have the awareness that a portal is there, they just go about their daily life, right? They may go, why am I tired today? Or why am I feeling so energized? Or why am I having some lucid dreaming? Why am I seems to be more psychic, right? So that's what are some little things. Personally, for me, I would love to, like, if I am aware of a portal opening, then it will be a moment of retrospecting. It'll be a moment to then really go through, like, okay, what are the areas of my life that I want to use this energy to energize, empower, or to remove what no longer serve. But that said, as what we said earlier, are we ready for change? Right? I have many moments of my life where I have like, I want this change, I want this change. But when the change came, I go, oh my God, I'm not ready for it yet, right? So be careful with like the things that we all say that we are so ready for, but when it comes to it, are we really ready? Yeah. So for me, to your question, like if I'm aware there is a portal, I will take this time to be more aware. I will take this time to feel the energies and open up my senses, open up my awareness. And personally, I'm a bit more of a fantasy girl. I love to look out for the magic. So I will be looking out for like, where are the magics? Are the fairies more active? Are the dragons more active? Or were there more colors that were not usually there before? So these are the things that I would be opening up my senses to receive.
And you, Sydney?
I feel like your question is a really interesting one for us to channel about, just because I'm like, well, what would be the best thing to do, or like how would one make the most of it? Like I don't know the answer to that question. So I think it would be super interesting for us to look into that as well.
Before we do that, I just want to reflect, like, really, if it's a tent, where there's more magic. So when it's an opening door for manifestation, either ways, then from now on, I'll make myself very clever. I'll be more aware of what I think before and between, like before and after. Like I think that this period of time, I will look at my thoughts. I will see if I'm positive or negative, because sometimes we don't realize most of it. What am I repeating myself over and over, and especially at that time, because am I an open magnet then?
Yeah.
So it's not, yes, the magic, but the other way around. Like, what are you bringing back to you? Yeah.
That's a good point, because a lot of people do agree that when the portals open, the energies are a bit more fine and a bit more sensitive, so that whatever you intend, whatever you wish for, is so much easier to get that message out there, to get that intention out there, so that universe can support you with it, because the frequency and the energy is so much lighter and it can travel so much more. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Absolutely.
But I was mostly saying the other way around. Like, if you're not aware,
yeah, so you need to be aware of your thoughts so that you are pulling them in, right? So you're pulling them in because you have already sent your message out there. I want to win that lottery, right? So they got the message, send her the lottery, right? Something like that.
But it's also a sign time. It's like, oh, it's always happening to me. Like, I always get one of those. Like, if you're not aware of that, I think it multiplies. So it could be super positive, but super negative either ways. Yeah. I think. Yeah. And so is it like that one of the questions that maybe we want to ask our guides is like, is it amplifying? Like, will it show, is it a purpose to show you all your niggles, like all the little problematic that, or like the missing link, or showing you like, yeah, so is it reflecting, is it like a mirror, or and showing you like what needs to be done? either ways. Like, well, not just what you want, but also what would your purpose want. So maybe it's reflecting like you still do work on that. So
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Any other things you want to add, Sydney, before we start channeling from the guides to teach us more and show us more ideas for what is cosmic and intergalactic portal?
I'm bring it on. I have no idea like what might be said tonight.
Yeah, so okay, so in the description today, right, when I was thinking about the description for this YouTube channel, the few things that I do find that it's good for us to really start thinking about will be like, when the cosmic portals open, how does it impact Earth, right? What are the changes? So as we noticed, because there were portals, there was some natural disaster yesterday. Was it yesterday or 2 days before?
2 days ago.
2 days ago, and that's pretty serious, right? And then how does it impact us energetically as well as spiritually? So that's one of the key things for us to understand the purpose of the portals, and then why are there specific portals that we are made aware of? Example, the Lion's Gate and then the 111, right? Why are these called out specifically and being popularized? So these are some of the top questions for me to get some answer from. But yeah, any of the other questions that Annie posed, right? Like how should we tune in when the portals are open? How should we like prepare ourselves for these energies? And all the other questions that you have.
I have another question too.
Yeah.
It's like, is it an open door also for the light energy, but also for dark energies?
Okay, so that is usually not something we talk about how both light and dark serve. So
Yeah.
a portal is neutral. That's the way I see it.
Yes.
But sometimes
Yeah.
a portal is so bright and so much light, that's when it's not an environment for the dark energy. So at least that's what I understand, depending on the different types of portal. If not, they're generally neutral. Except for those that's extremely bright, right? When we're talking about those that's coming from Sirius or those coming from Lion's Gate, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. So
Okay.
both of you are the channelers, so ready.
I hope you're ready with your questions.
Yeah.
Or we'll have more ones. It's okay.
Oh, I should warn everyone that like it's the holiday season here, where I am in Malaysia. So every now and then, if you hear like a popping sound, it's like firecrackers in the back.
I heard that they actually have firecrackers during Hari Raya.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so interesting. Yeah.
Very good.
In the meantime, if there's any questions from the viewers, feel free to ask us. Type them in the chat.
What do you wish to see? What do you want to know?
Hi, who's this speaking?
I am a ray.
Which ray are you?
White,
Hello,
just
ray.
like a pearl.
Beautiful, iridescent pearl. So the topic today is about portals, the cosmic portals, intergalactic portals. Portals happening every day, every night, 365 days a year? Or is it only we are just aware of the Lion's Gate portal and the 111 portal? Or there are other portals that we are not aware of? And maybe portals are happening every day. And what's the purpose of portals? Sorry, so many questions at one time.
I am a linking energy. I don't know all portals, but I am involved with many, and you humans are not aware of all portals, but it is not that portals of the scale you are asking about are happening all the time, every day. That would be very destabilizing for you if such large scale changes and shifts in your frequency were happening so often. But there are portals everywhere, all the time, in different places too, that help to link their energies and facilitate exchanges.
Mhm. Interesting. You mentioned two things that made me very curious. Number one, you mentioned that when the portals connect and opens up, there is a shift and change in frequency. That is something that's quite interesting. Can you talk a bit about that? And also, why does a portal exist at that day and time, and the purpose of the shifts and the frequencies that has been shared with us on Earth?
Yes. The portals shift and link up different places and different beings due to the underlying structures, the underlying frequencies. You can think of it like the whole universe has a shape, different geometry across more than your observable world. And so there are actually ways in which your world is touching other places and other energies that to you might seem like are far away at a physical level. But at certain other places in the geometry, they are next to each other and they can overlap to create these portals, to create these energetic interactions. And when they overlap, they form a little spark like me, like my frequency, and that facilitates the creation of a portal which you can interact with at your level of being and understanding. Portals are also affected by the ways that people think about and understand and process them, since the energies around us are affected by our consciousness and our understanding. It's all part of the recipe. So for the portals that you are aware of, your collective awareness and understanding of those portals forms and contributes to the nature of those portals when they connect with you.
Interesting. And the purpose of such connection, how does it impact Earth? How does it impact us energetically and spiritually?
The natural occurrence of portals at this scale is part of the co-evolution and transformation of different frequencies of consciousness. On Earth, your connection points are with those that are a closest match with your specific experiences across the different types of frequencies. Your portals will connect with those kinds of challenges and opportunities which are most closely linked to your path.
Interesting. So when the portals are opened and the connections to us are happening, for those of us who are aware, what do you recommend and suggest that we do to, I guess, experience this portal?
For those of you who are able to sense and experience the portals, you can use that opportunity not only to simply work with the existing understanding of those energies, but also to see if you can create your own unique understanding of that portal's energy. You will also notice that portals will interact with and resonate with different parts of your own experience. Some portals are better at highlighting what you might call challenges in your experience, and other portals are better at resonating with what you might call your personal evolution or sense of self-actualization. The portal's energies themselves are neutral, though sometimes those that resonate with your human challenges can come across as dark or unsettling, as they can bring up heavy or difficult emotions.
True. So I have a question from the live audience. I'm not too sure. Is it Alvonsis? That's how I pronounce the name. The question is the portal related to the recent earthquake that occurred in Myanmar and Thailand? And we brought that up before we started the YouTube channel. YouTube session.
Yes, portals can create physical effects in your environment. Just like you might notice the portal's energy interacting with your own internal state, so too does Earth and its environments have their own energies, frequencies, and journeys. When a portal comes through, it can resonate with different parts of Earth's energy and Earth's experience that leads to the creation of a specific physical result, such as an earthquake.
Thank you for that explanation. Thank you. And many others have also want to use this opportunity when there is a portal open. The expectation is that this is the best time to talk about our DNA upgrade. Our manifestation would then be quickened. Is there such kind of truth behind that?
The experience of a faster rate of transformation is linked to how deeply you are able to access your own energy. And a portal can be a component that helps you to feel a connection with the different parts of your frequency that are further away from your day-to-day physical energy. And this can have the effect of making manifestation feel easier.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you, White Ray. Really appreciate you giving us all that insights. Is there anything else that you feel we should be more aware of about these portals and how to work with the portals?
The natural portals that form all around you and that form in other worlds as well are part of the natural anatomy of our universe here. And we hope that you are able to enjoy them and also feel more at ease and empathetic with yourself and the changes you might experience in your life. It is easy for the experience of change and disruption to be very different depending on whether or not it matched up with your expectations of what you thought should happen or wanted to happen. We hope that in speaking to us, you are able to have more empathy with your own expectations and with your own experience of life, especially as the human psyche tends to search so fervently for a sense of meaning, and this can create a type of melancholy when you feel like you aren't able to make that meaning exactly the way you thought it would be. However, there are no wrong ways to live your life or interact with the energy of portals, and every part of your experience is informing the greater picture of lives led and the evolutionary frequency you're contributing is always an important data point, and your individual experience can be as important to you or as free and easy as you see fit.
So, White Ray, I could understand that you're speaking from the portals from star nations and other cosmic. Before you go, just want to understand, well, are there also portals that are not from the light, that is actually more to calibrate the shadows and the dark?
Yes, like I said, many portals form for Earth. As for other places, the portals that form are those that can be a match for the different frequencies that are held for the area. And Earth has a large array of frequencies that its life forms can connect with and that are seen inside of their own frequency makeup. So what you call the darker or lower frequencies can also be amplified through portals that are more resonant with those frequencies as well. And those portals tend to show you the what you call darker aspects of your own nature. But these different frequencies are all just different opportunities to understand the spectrum of your own energetic makeup.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much, White Ray. I really appreciate your insights.
I am happy to see you all.
Thank you. I have another question coming from live, and the question is from Mario asking. And Mario has the question that I heard there are other dimension portals, like supernatural beings. They come to our different dimensions, worlds, and try to find out about our civilization. Call them ghosts or genies or fairies. Aha, this is very interesting. I would say that these supernatural beings, yes, they do exist. Maybe somebody else could channel them.
Before the question can be also answered, I have Mother Gaia.
Oh, hi, Mother Gaia.
Hello. I had, from the beginning of my own conception, I had a serious numbers of portals that came along. Through the ages, other portals were built, facilitated, connected. As humanity is expanding now, and through the different star nations and starseed that came and accepted, willing to come for the transition from the third to the fifth dimension of me. They brought their own or built their own portals. That's why there are so many of them now. And could be conflictual, like so many satellites around me and buildings. So sometimes there are some conflicts because every portal has a certain charge of energy, and sometimes the working like magnets, and sometimes they attract and sometimes they repulse, and that cause, unfortunately, physical reactions of me, Mother Gaia.
I see.
Now, what was the questions of Mario?
So the Mario's question is about these dimension portals and supernatural beings come through them. So in our civilization, we call them ghosts, genies, or fairies. I think it's more than that. There are many others who use these dimensional portals that come through. I would say ghosts or fairies, they are a bit more earthbound, but coming through the dimensions are definitely something more interesting than just ghosts, genies, or fairies. But Mother Gaia, please share your perspective.
Definitely, it has been evolving a lot. Like I was saying, I am shifting. We all are, and trying to attain the goal of the fifth dimension. And this transition is asking for a lot of help. And so multi-dimensions portals are helping and facilitating the help and also the connection to different dimensions, universes, and also different eras like timelines.
Mhm.
So you have different portals that sometimes are very in between communications. Some portals are more energetic, and some portals are more like engineer, like they are bringing a ground substance that helps to, for example, you talked about the Lion's Gate.
Mhm.
There's more manifesting, and it deploys more energy. So this type of portal is not just an energetical one. It really is a flamboyant one that connects so many different layers, but also energies, aspects, and civilization all in one time. And furthermore, some portals are more discreet. Some portals are all even people, persons. And that is also very intriguing, especially for the ones not knowing it, how much they propel energy or attract more than either ways, good situation or what you call it, more challenging situations. So all that, it's a very, you're asking me to describe me. you different ingredients for a recipe, but it is so different, so very distinct usage or properties. And yes, they are gates and doors, but mostly helping either populations or different energy to transit or shifting.
So would you agree that there are sometimes beings who come through Earth and get trapped here and then stay here?
Yes.
There are,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
That could cause a lot of conflicts. Yes.
Yes, it'll be difficult for us because we don't understand them, they don't understand us, and there will be conflicts.
Yes, it creates also a surcharge of energy.
Yeah.
So yes, so we can talk about this another time. However, for me, it's sometimes difficult to cope with everything. Like I said, there was like in the beginnings, there was not as much, but it seems that as one is opening and the connection with more and more and more and more civilizations and timelines, it really starts to be a lot at the same times.
So my question to you, Mother Gaia, to support you, for the work that I do, is it wise to go in to close some of the portals that no longer serve?
You can always do it temporarily and check.
Mhm.
Yes, you can always do it for a temporary time, and then see what is the impact or the ripple effect that it's affecting. But sometimes I would say yes, but always think about the impact of the gates, because some of them are also like a osmose, they are into a symbiosis, so they have other functions or other properties.
So I'm asking for those portals that are dead and no longer serve, if you should just close them so that you are not burdened by that another possibility.
I never realized that portals could be dead. I thought they were always like phoenix, always reconnecting with another one. But from your perspective, the way you explain it, yes, of course,
Yeah.
you can do and extract it.
Yes. So there is another question from live, and this question is there a way to create our portal that provides energy for meditation? Interesting. Maybe Rika, you want to explain further, what sort of energy are you looking for during your meditation? Because when we are meditating, of course, everybody is meditating with different purpose. Very often when we're meditating, we go into the alpha state for healing, beta state for manifestation. So there are different reasons why we meditate. So do let us know that when you are meditating, what sort of energy are you looking for, so that we know how to answer that in context.
Are you trying to fly away?
Who's trying to fly away? Who's that?
Trying to use portals while meditating. Hello.
Yes, yes. There are a lot of people who actually do try to fly away during meditation. Good point.
Hello.
Hi, who's this?
It's me, the monkey.
Ooh, the monkey god.
I am the king of all monkeys.
So that's Sun Wukong or Haruman?
Yes, Sun Wukong.
Oh, hello, Sun Wukong. Nice of you to show up.
You were talking about all kinds of beings using portals, and we use them a lot as well. So
Ooh.
I heard your conversation. I overheard your conversation, and I thought it was very interesting.
Chime in. I'm always curious and interested in your perspective, monkey.
Because there are so many of us, there are so many different kinds of portals. And when people get lost in them, it's a little bit funny but it was because during that time they accidentally connect and have a complementary frequency, and then they can end up connecting with a portal, and that gives them an experience of being very lost. And that will usually happen somewhere where their physical environment is also unusual to them. So if you go out somewhere that is unfamiliar to you, your frequency is also more open because you have to be aware of your environment and be open to navigating a new space and new possibilities. And sometimes people accidentally fall into the perfect frequency for a portal that is nearby. So it is good to know about portals so that you can disconnect from the frequency and go home, especially for some of the more playful beings. Their personal portals can be quite silly.
I like to add to that, Sun Wukong. Thank you for bringing that up, because in one of my healing session with one of a client, she was messing around with portals using plant medicine.
Yes.
And then her soul jumped out into
And
the
was
portal.
using them to make it difficult.
Yes, and then when her soul was out of her body and it was completely unprotected, it was up for grabs for the other beings who are very curious with our human light. And that was quite a journey for us to go back to negotiate to bring back all her pieces to piece her back as one soul again. Basically, her soul got fractaled because she went through a portal, and that portal was in the land of the beings who are very curious about humans' light, and they start taking apart that human soul and each taking it as a piece of experiment for themselves. So yeah, Rika, I'll be curious about, what sort of portal you're looking to create when you are meditating or journeying. Yes. Yes, to Mario, yes, multiverses do exist. So these are responding to all this live.
Yes, you mentioned the use of your human substances because some of them have a lot of different frequencies to them that can interact with you and make your energy more easily accessible to other beings, or also you make your energy closer to, or bring your energy to a portal or create one during that experience. This can be a very adventurous thing to do.
And I must say that when a human soul learned to eject themselves out of this earthbound and go to other galaxies through their own portals to go wander around for the adventure and playfulness.
You used to have to do it that way, actually. But now it's way better. You all don't need to use other things anymore. I see so many humans now can facilitate it with their own bodies. And especially there was a period of time where you all got quite good and could even bring back changes for your own physical bodies as well, for those who studied very much. Unfortunately, some of those frequencies are no longer a match for Earth right now and are hard to see.
Do you want to explain that a bit more? Because that sounded a bit cryptic.
There have been civilizations in the past also that I have been involved with and watched, where their people managed to grow their own spiritual development to the point where their frequencies were a lot more subtle, and that also there was a point where their frequency and the Earth's frequency became misaligned and they took separate paths. So they and their their items left behind fewer traces.
Oh, I somehow have the impression that you are describing the Mayans civilization.
There was there as well as where China is now as well. There's different pockets of development over time, blooming and reducing and forming different patterns.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
Corinne. That was very insightful and interesting with what you have just shared. Thank you. Any other beings want to lend more light about the portals? I love to hear about the shadows and dark portals as well. If there's some beings from there who like to share about that. But of course, the angels, the dragons, you may come and share and talk about your portals as well.
I am the boatman.
The boatman who carries our souls.
Yes.
Hello, boatman. Thank you for being here.
When it comes to the portals that we use, their frequencies have to be able to match a large variety of different souls. However, there are also those, especially those who do not realize they have passed, who we have trouble seeing and accessing, and we have a hard time sometimes being able to bring them to the next stage of their journey. During this time, they tend to roam the earth when they are unable to view and experience our frequency, and we have a hard time experiencing theirs. And we have been assisted throughout history by humans who are able to access a very large variety of energies while they are alive. And these humans have helped act as intermediaries to allow us to pinpoint and access those beings who have passed and whose frequencies have dropped past what we are able to access. And for that, we are very grateful for their help.
Boatman, may I interject to explain a little what you just shared so that the audience could have a better understanding of these earthbound spirits? So as you all know, that the boatmen are a form of angels where they come to ferry our souls after we transitioned from the living to the dead. And the souls are then transitioned to the next stage of the journey of the soul. This is when a lot of souls talk about seeing the light, and that is the portal that's been opened for the boatman to come pick you up. But very often when we pass, we don't realize we have passed, and then we don't see the portal, we don't see the light, and the boatman couldn't pick us up because the frequency is misaligned. And as we continue to stay on Earth, wandering, because we don't know we're dead, or if we do know we're dead, we do not know where to go, that's where we become a wandering spirit or become a ghost. And that's when sometimes when we do our channeling work, we open up the portal to invite the boatmen to come help us pick them up. And that's when we as channelers will go in to gather all these wandering spirits, wandering souls, and say, come on, get on the boat, it's time to go. And sometimes that's when they'll go, no, I'm waiting for my child, I'm waiting for my lover, I still have revenge, I still have to take revenge on the guy who betrayed me. So they choose to stay. And that's when we have to tell them, say, hey, you know what, let's do that in the next journey and just come with us to go with the boatman. So this is just to give you that perspective of what the boatman was talking about. Boatman, please continue. Sorry to interject.
Not at all. It is good for you to help those who are listening understand what is being said, as it can be difficult for us to find the exact right words to push through the channeler. For those of you who have your own portals, you might find that these types of spirits might be accessible to you. You might see or sense them. And in these experiences, they might also see or sense you. When they are in this wandering state, it is difficult for them to have a clear experience, as on one level, they are expecting to function like a living person, but they are no longer. And when this happens, it is like their experience becomes very blurry. And those who have their own access, their own affinity to their energy and can sense them, appear to them as either bright or clearer than most other things in their experience. And that increase in brightness or that increase in clarity is something that can attract them to you, as it is a hopeful thing in that moment when an experience is so dimmed and so confusing. That little piece of change in a positive direction, they instinctually feel like they might be able to get help from that.
Thank you. And Boatman, by coming forward to share this message with us, what is your intention? What do you hope to achieve?
My intention in coming forward is to help to soothe those who have had this experience of being able to sense the souls that have been left behind. We want them to know that they are not doing something wrong by being able to do this. And it's not that they are necessarily being attracted to you because you match a frequency of their own fears and their own vices. That is a different type of situation than those who have portals, than those who have access. For this situation I have described, it is because you have a gift and an ability. And I hope that in knowing this, you will feel more at ease with yourself and with your experiences.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Indeed, a lot of people are afraid of ghosts because they don't know what exactly ghosts or spirits are and are so afraid of them. But actually, the truth of the matter, they were once human like you and me. And then when they passed, they don't know exactly what happened and they got lost. And they wandered around looking for help, not sure where their next destination. And very often they're still stuck in the loop of living when they are already dead. So yes, thank you for your kind words, Boatman. And it is good to spread the information and knowledge about ghosts and how they came to be. Thank you. We are coming to the top of the hour, so I'm just going to let one more channeling to come through about the portals before we close for the evening or the afternoon. So anybody else want to come through?
Yes,
Who's that?
I'm a portal.
Hello, portal. The portal. What portal would you like to describe yourself to be?
I am connected to Atlantis.
Atlantis.
Mhm.
that's such an ancient civilization. And I'd love to hear more about Atlantis through you.
I do have less purpose now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still being used once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
just to let you know. I thought you might have questions for me.
Well, given that you came forward, I'm curious about what is your intention and what message that you like to share.
I'm here for the transitioning.
The transitioning, did Atlantis
Yeah.
go through some level of transitioning themselves?
No, I'm talking about my purpose. Is where I was is once, but the function of a portal is two. And I is there for transitioning. Portals are there to facilitate transitioning and any type of exchange of tunes, sometimes notes, even particles, sometimes very different. It's not just vibrations, but any type of energies that we always see stars and magic, but actually it is a way to exchange a bit of logistic in the world. And of course, where I was located, or still am, since you call it ancient civilizations, but we were very often in constant contact with other civilizations from other dimensions and worlds and universes. And the frequencies and the exchanges it was always a lot of constant bombardments. How do you call it? Bombardments. And some of the gates were submerged by too much energy, by the energy fields, and created a cataclysm.
I see. And what was your purpose as a portal in Atlantis? Like, what do people use you for? Is it to connect with the other alien civilization, other portals in other dimension? Could you share a bit?
Exchange of knowledge and exchange not just the vibration and energies, but also a lot of innate knowledge, engineering. Also, they brought other civilizations brought their own things, not just with spaceship, but through portals. There was a lot of exchange from materials. That's why sometimes you find other what you call not just material, but physical objects that don't belong to the world. They very, very often were brought or exchanged or transferred through portals.
Very interesting. And how is it that we're not able to do that now?
A lot of blockage, but also too many portals. A lot of portals. It's a lot of wiring. So there's a lot of people. There's more people. So it's difficult to do the transition. It has to be done in a very secure way. And right now, there are a lot of conflicts, not just humans, a lot of different beings, also controlling and making sure, restricting also the transitions of information and also like what you could be products, objects, plans, knowledge. There's a restriction being made.
Yes, I am aware of them. But thank you, Portal from Atlantis. Now that you are less of a service and that you are in the stage of transitioning, what would you be transitioning into?
Spontaneously, what I want to experience is love, and I am in service for light and love. So anything that comes along in that purpose.
Okay, we may support you in your transition after the session, and I'll connect with you again. Thank you for coming through. Okay, ladies, take your time. We're going to come back and we're going to give a quick summary of what you both have experienced.
Wow.
Come back. Welcome back.
Oh
You know,
my
first,
God.
when we
Ugh.
first started, you're like, we don't know anything about portals. And then when we both start channeling, y'all know so much about portals.
Yes, I know. It's like I have so many other questions, but you know,
Yeah.
I'll let this sink in. But I didn't know there were so many of them. Like what I pictured, what I see is like, yeah,
Yeah, I
really.
saw it too when you said that, or rather when you channeled that. There's so many.
Actually, there was something I wanted to add, but I didn't know how it's going to be received, but I'm just going to share it anyway.
Yeah.
Because Mother Gaia talked about how there are so many satellites around her, and it's actually quite confusing. And for us as channelers, one of the reasons why we use our portals instead of being dependent of connecting elsewhere is because these satellites actually do disrupt a lot of frequency for Earth. And one of the things, and I'm not too sure if this is going to raise a lot of eyebrows. One of the things we learned when we first started channeling about COVID virus, it was actually intended to be a DNA upgrade. And then because of all this portals that was opened, and then with the frequency of the satellite that was bombarding Earth with different frequencies, and as we know that our DNA upgrades are all through codes. And so with the different frequencies that the satellites were bombarding on Earth, it actually disrupted the codes that was meant for our Ascension upgrade. And then before you know it, it got a bit like, what the heck? It became a virus. At least that was what I understood in our channeling. But of course, that was not widely shared, just because there's so many opinions and so many thoughts around the COVID virus anyway. So I didn't want to just throw another spanner into it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, because of all these different frequencies from Earth, bombarding Earth, it is interesting to hear it from Mother Gaia that the portals are also creating so much frequency and charge that they can actually knock together and create something. You know, there's another question I had in mind now that we talked about this.
Yeah.
The creation of black hole, is that got anything to do with the portals? But that's the question for another day when we do our
I
own
have
exploration.
I have a comment on that. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
That's a like a dad stroke.
We'll talk about to matter, but yes, okay, it does matter. But I mean,
Yeah.
we will talk to antimatter probably in that way.
So
Okay, cool.
both of you have seen all the different portals and both of you have channeled about it.
Wow.
Is there any summary key takeaways that you want to share before we close this session?
Wow, I mean, it's like we've done a few sessions now where we channel live, and this was one of the ones where it felt the busiest in terms of how, like, it's usually busy anyway. Like, there's this feeling of a lot of different things trying to come through. But I feel like, at least for me today, it was one of the most active in terms of them like really pushing to come through. There's other times where I feel the energies and they're like, if you want to. And then today it's like, I have stuff to say and I have stuff to say. Yeah, it was very interesting that way. And like I didn't get to say anything, but near the end of like when Annie was channeling the Atlantis one, I felt something related to like the brain. It was like the brain was wanting to talk a little bit about the expression of like our soul and the whole like way that we like have an identity and stuff like that. It was like portal related, where it was like basically saying something along the lines of like how the structure of the brain itself is to help facilitate like a little mini portal to create the experience of consciousness when you're a human and all that kind of stuff. So that was a really like interesting little random thing that I thought I'd just like throw in here before we
That's
end.
That's deep. Like, wow, you
Yeah.
mean each and every one of us on Earth in our brain
Yeah,
is also a portal. Okay, Sydney,
like
like
a little
I wish I gave you that time
one.
to do that. Maybe another time.
We'll try, like, because I was like, okay, today we're talking about like big portals in the world, like
Yeah.
cosmic portals. I'm like, the individual portals, I was like, when I felt it come through, I was like, we can do this another time. Otherwise, I was like, this is opening like a complete other can of worms that I thought was super interesting, but I didn't want to, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, okay, next time. Don't tell me yet.
Okay, we have our topic for next week.
Yeah.
So anything other than what you have channeled, was there other things that you want to summarize or as a key takeaway?
No, I'm mostly grateful also for the candid words of the boatman. Thank you, Sydney,
Yeah.
for channeling him in her or it.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, that it and it was like, oh, it's true. Portals when we cross over, and yeah, so that was a lot of pragmatic information today. A lot of takeovers and highlights. Let the information sink in, and if you do have like something you recall afterwards watching this, please write a comment so we always read them, and maybe we'll answer you next time that we
Yeah.
pop up.
Personally, I feel that I need to rewatch this whole thing because there
Me
are
too.
dropping gems and there are things where I couldn't process immediately. I was like, wow, that's deep, that's deep. So yes, well, thank you everyone for tuning in. And before you know it, it's really time's up. So
Yeah,
looking
the
for
time really flies.
time actually really just flew by. So thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, tune in again for another very interesting topic. So to then, good night, good
Or a
afternoon,
good day.
good
Yeah.
morning, good day. See y'all soon again.